sure many of you are curious as to what actually goes on up in the projection booth. I mean, it's action central up there. It must be very exciting, handling the actual prints of some of the greatest films of all time, threading up those giant projectors, having the best seat in the house to watch the latest, most popular movies. Let's see if they'll let us up there. Hello? Hello up there?
Hey, buddy, keep it down.
Mind if we come up for a look? Guess not. After a bit of coaxing, I did get up to the projection room and I asked what it was like watching the movie from what must surely be the best seat in the house.
I don't usually get to see the movie very much. I'm in and out of the doors a lot, dealing with customer complaints, checking things out, making sure everything's running smoothly. The only time I usually get to see the movie from start to finish is if I sneak down at night when nobody else is around. I'll play the movie on my own.
Unfortunately, the projection room isn't the best place to enjoy the film from. It's more fun out in the car where it's nice and quiet and you have the sound, you know, of your car stereo. Right here, I've got all the machinery roaring away, so it's not the viewing experience you'd think it might be in the projection room.
I do have a chance to watch the film time to time, mostly the first-run movies, so I get bored some of them once you've seen them a lot.
One guy said, you must watch a lot of movies. I said, I see them all, but I only watch a few.
Well, I guess it's not nearly as glamorous a job as I thought. What's interesting is that the art and science of projecting movies really hasn't changed much over the years. I mean, there have been innovations in the lamp houses and how films are assembled and threaded for projection, but the basics have remained the same. Films still travel in large cases consisting of about 7 or 8 reels. The reels each hold about 20 minutes of film. So I guess you're wondering, how do you show a 90-minute movie when it's on several of these reels? A solution was to use 2 projectors. As reel 1 is ending on the first projector, the projectionist starts reel 2 on the second machine. While reel 2 is playing, the projectionist loads up the third reel of the film on the first projector, and so on, and so on. Now, to get around having to change reels, a tower system was devised. The many reels were spliced together by the projectionist onto one giant reel for showing.
One night, we were showing a movie, and I can't remember which one. And I think we might have got one reel mixed up in the middle. So instead of going from 2 to 3, we went to 2 to 4, and then show the third one afterwards. After the movie and during the break, there was only a few people that actually noticed it.
An improvement was the creation of a platter, like a tower. The entire film is spliced together, but it lies horizontally, not vertically. The advantage is that at the end of the movie, it doesn't have to be rewound because the start or head of the film is always accessible. After the drive-in is finished with the film, it's disassembled and placed back into the carrying cases and transported to the next theater. Now let's hear what the pros have to say.
Your average reel will only hold 20 minutes of film, whereas your average show maybe an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. So when the 20 minutes run out, you got to switch over to the next machine. Near the end of the film, you get these 2 cues, little black dots or whatever on the right-hand side of the screen. The first one, you start your next machine running. When you see the next one, you step on the foot pedal and that switches your light and sound. It only happens in less than a second.
Did you have to be bang on? You have to be perfect?
Well, it helps.
It's just basically 24 frames, 24 individual still frames running through the projector. The mind plays a trick on you, persistence of vision, and each individual frame, there's a slight difference in motion. You begin to see not the brakes, but you begin to see the movement. That's the big trick. That's been tricking people for 100 years, and we're happy of it.
We used to run with carbon arcs, and every 20 minutes we used to switch between projectors. And 3 years ago, we switched to xenon lamps. Just for the simple reason is the carbon arcs were getting hard to come by.
Well, if anybody knows how carbon arc works, positive carbon's got a soft center, creates a crater, and the negative carbon has got a hard center, and that the current goes between the 2 carbons. It's just a little ball of flame, and that's what hits your film, and that's where you get all your light on the screen.
The future of drive-in projection is just too early to say yet. Even indoor theaters haven't adopted the new digital projection as of yet. Some theaters have come online in Toronto and the major centers, but the majority of the outlying centers, the rest of Canada or even in the United States, they haven't come online yet because they haven't seen that it's been a proven media yet. To me,
film is, I know what it is, I can see it, and I know it's going to work. With digital, little things can break, and if it breaks, you're down. And with film, it's very reliable, and that's why it's been, I don't know how many years film's been around. It's been around for a long time.
Everyone wants to go digital, but there's so many different formats. There's the problems with delivery. There's especially that huge shark fin of piracy if you go digital, where you could spend $100 million on a feature film and you could lose it to pirates in a day. Now at least it's a film print, and it's not something you can take down to your basement and transfer easily or quality-wise to any video format. It's uncertain right now.
You know, they all make it sound so easy, but I had to ask them about when the show didn't go quite as planned.
The worst night of the drive-in was the first night we put in the platter system. Our instruction on the operation wasn't as good as it should have been, and I guess it was about a half hour into the first film, the film all jammed up. So we were lucky enough to have the second film on another platter, so we loaded it up, same problem happened. We learned from our experiences and we moved on. We never had a problem since.
Opening weekend, I had all the movie put together, except one reel. I had it upside down and backwards, and of course, when it went to play, that's just what it did. It went upside down and backwards, and there's no way to correct it once it's on the platter.
There was actually one time we had no sound, and I couldn't find it. And someone else did find it. It was just a simple breaker.
Sometimes the carbon will go out on you and you got to strike it again. Oh yeah, there's always some little thing happens.
Sometime if they're not getting the proper sound or the proper focus, they'll let you know.
The film goes down, I notice it immediately. The horns start beeping.
After 13 years, I've learned to tune a lot of it out. If you block that noise out and you just go very slow, you can have the problem fixed very fast and motor along.
The fact is, machines fail, and they will, and they do. You just try to make sure that you can keep those problems to a minimum.
We've met some of the folks who keep the drive-ins open, but what is it that attracts us each summer? When you think of the many high-tech entertainment options available to us, be it satellite television, DVDs, high-def TV, pay-per-view, IMAX theaters, you name it, many of us, thousands of us, still pack the car and head off to the drive-in.
People don't come just for the movie. Yes, it does matter what the movie is, but it also, some people come here and they don't even know what's playing. They're just happy to come to the drive-in.
Because for some of the movies, you know, you think, who will come to this? And then you get a crowd of people that come to it and sit around, talk, visit, whatever.
I like watching the people show up because they bring their deck chairs and they set up and they have their blow-up sofas and they bring the cat and the dog and everyone else, and it's more like a picnic with a movie.
We've heard enough from the show people. Let's see what the customers have to say.
You can actually like drive in here instead of like walking in and being with a whole bunch of people. You can be with your friends and sit and talk during the movie.
Now, when you guys are talking, you ever get so loud people tell you to shh?
No, we're actually pretty quiet.
A lot of friends come with us and we like to hang out. We usually come with our boyfriends sometimes, don't we?
But we like the popcorn especially.
Yeah, we like the popcorn.
More of like a big thing to go to the drive-in too. Like it's no big deal just to go to the movies, but go to the drive-in, you like get your sleeping bag and snacks and stuff.
Usually we come out here to hang out too. That's not just for the movies.
You can't sit in front of your VCR and call it a date. When you go to a drive-in, it's a date, and people are comfortable here. They can bring their boyfriend, girlfriend, sit in the car, relax, talk. Whereas an indoor theater, you might not be comfortable talking to each other with a room full of people telling you to be quiet.
Out in the middle of nowhere, flicks in the sticks, one might say, and we're surrounded by cornfields on all three sides. So at this time of year, August, we literally vanish into the corn, as it will. And it's very hard to somewhat find us, but once you get here, it's a nice little isolated, very, very quiet and, well, some might say romantic spot.
Everybody doesn't want to sit home and watch a video because they do that all winter. They want to get out. And in the spring, you notice it more.
Back in the 1980s when the VCRs first came out, I think we got our first one in 1985, I thought that they would go extinct at that time because people would stay home to watch the movies, and then with satellite and everything too. But I think now people are actually coming to the drive-in for the same reason I am, to get the social experience.
Just as like going to the indoor theater, it's communal, but at the drive-in, it's even more so of a family adventure or a community adventure. When you come to the drive-in, you just don't come by yourself. You bring friends, and you bring practically your own living room on four wheels with your stereo system, which in some cases is better than your average indoor theater.
My family's come here ever since I was just a little kid. I know a lot of people that come here, friends, family. It's a very nice place to meet each other and just hang out for the night.
These are all my grandchildren, and what are we doing here at the drive-in tonight?
We're watching movies for our family reunion.
You always know the people that are here, at least half of them. They're either neighbors or friends that you've seen, and people in the past that you went to high school with.
It's not like a normal theater where you just sit down. You get to sit in your car.
And you get a big screen's like a million miles long.
What's the point in going into a cinema when you can be in a huge land with a car, sitting there eating your popcorn?
It's a nice alternative to the marching in line lockstep into an indoor theater, being hosed for huge amounts of cash for a small popper. We know costs only cents, but you're being gouged by $10. Come to the drive-in, it's cheaper. And if you're really on a budget, bring your own stuff. Nobody ever really complains about that either.
Best entertainment value around. 2 movies or more, usually on the same ticket.
There's a lot of people that moved away, but they bring their children back, and as they tell me, they bring their children back because they want them to have the experience of a drive-in.
A lot of people from my generation or younger haven't had the chance to go to one, so we get people coming to this drive-in from quite far away, Halifax, Yarmouth.
I remember a customer that they drove from Vancouver. They had a map in their hand of Prince Edward Island, and on that map there's a coupon for $1 off here for the Brackley Beach Drive-In. And they were waiting at the gate, and this was their first major stop, I guess, on their entire travel.
We had a couple from England just the other day, and they'd never been to a drive-in, and they were going across Canada, and okay, we'll go to a drive-in.
You can come to a drive-in theater, see 2 bad films, and still have a really good time.
We know why audiences keep coming, but what's in it for the folks who keep our drive-ins running? Surely they don't like the drive-in as much as their patrons.
The drive-in has really become, for a lot of us, very much a second summer home, if you will. And the other Lions members that are here, it's very much the same thing.
I get to spend some quality time with my family. It's a lot of hard work for my father, my mother, and everybody else. But the time that we do spend together while we're working, these are memories that we are going to hold on to.
I like the different people that come here, all the tourists. You meet a lot of different people from all over the world, and they're amazed with the drive-in.
My customer coming is make her feeling good, talking. I'm not very well speak English, but we make the fun, happy, smiling,
I love meeting the people, all the different people. Hi, how are you?
People that come in here, you get a really nice feedback because this isn't something people do every day, so it's nice to see what people think of it.
Well, I think it's a good experience because this is one of the last drive-ins there is. So if you think about it, when I'm grown up, there's probably going to be even fewer. So then I can tell everybody that I worked at one of the last drive-ins there are.
I just like to come work with all the girls in the canteen and just fool around, so it's pretty fun.
My son was looking for a job, and he applied for the job and got the job. And he really likes it. He likes the movies, and he likes working in the canteen because sometimes he only works Friday night and Saturday nights. He may have Sunday night off. And he still comes back on his nights off to watch the movies.
I'm very fortunate, really, because there hasn't been a night yet that I wish I didn't have to go to work, but I do like it.
I know the other day somebody said, "Are you working too much and not enjoying life?" And I thought, the poor guy that's not enjoying his work isn't, I enjoy doing what I do.
There's one thing that they're not telling us. How do they feel about the weather?
All industries are influenced by the weather. The farmers around us are influenced by it. The indoor theaters, if it's cold, if it's rainy, some people just don't want to go out. But in our case, you're really just going out to go outdoors. So our effect with the weather is doubly so. If it rains, we're hurt more than the average business.
Well, when it's raining, it's bad, and up here it's very wet, and some people stick it out. It's funny, but they do.
It rained so hard here one night that the water just flowed right in here. You walked with this much water all across this room with this 3-phase rectifier blaring, and of course all the electrical outlets, and the movies playing at the same time.
We have never canceled a show because of rain. And we quite often get phone calls when it's raining and said, "Are you going to have a show tonight?" But we've You know, we just carry on, and people use their windshield wipers, and there's an amazing number come out.
Quite often I have people come to the ticket office and they'll say, oh, what do I do if it rains? Do you still put a show on? You know, I said, if it snows, we put a show on. If it fogs up and you can't see the movie on the screen, that's when we cancel and we'll give you a fog pass or something, you know.
A few years ago, the last show of the season was Thanksgiving Sunday. The roads were blocked, but we carried on anyway. There was 2 cars here for the show, and one of them got stuck in the snowbank. We had 3 shows slated to go. We played 1 show, gave them their money back, and said, well, come back in the spring.
We're happy to have you with us this evening and want you to enjoy every minute of your stay here. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Finally, intermission. Really, who among us doesn't enjoy loading up on tasty treats from the concession stand? It's all part of the experience of the drive-in movie. Whether it's sinfully salty popcorn or one of those giant hot dogs that you just load up with tons of mustard and relish and onions, and I gotta go.
Everybody buys a popcorn, and what I've noticed is pretty much every single person gets butter on their popcorn.
Lots of times I spilled popcorn all over people with butter and stuff, so it's not good.
We got really good cheeseburgers, hot dogs. Popcorn not as big of a seller as it is in movie theaters, but our French fries and onion rings goes like mad.
I don't think we had French fries the first couple of years, but we did after that, and they were a big seller.
What makes good popcorn? Well, there's this little salt stuff that we put in there, and we usually put about like 3 or 4 little scoops in there. For me, the saltier the popcorn, the better.
I know I'd bought a second-hand popcorn machine, and it only lasted about an hour, and it blew up.
It was a really busy night one night, and I was pouring this guy a large Pepsi, and then when I was handing it to him, it slipped out in my hands and was poured all over the guy's shirt and pants.
The money is made here really in the canteen. And that's kind of, that's not just drive-ins, that's every theater. Because we don't police people that bring food in, and that's really not our goal. Our goal isn't to tell people that you gotta buy from our canteen. Our goal is to say, come enjoy yourself, and yeah, our canteen is there, and that's really what keeps us going. And I think people respect that.
Okay, I admit it. I'm a sucker for drive-in memories. Call it my interest in nostalgia, my growing sentimentality in my middle age, whatever. The point is, I love drive-ins. I even love the food in drive-ins. I remember one night in my teenage years, sitting in the pouring rain, trying to watch Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D with 3D glasses, and remarkably, it actually worked. I mean, the rain looked incredibly lifelike. But that's my favorite drive-in memory. Here are some others.
Here we go. Thank you. Either side. One night we had a gentleman that's wife went into labor, and she wanted to go to the hospital, and it was a really good movie, and he wouldn't leave. He said, we're watching the end of the movie no matter what. So we were a little afraid we were going to be having a delivery.
A couple nights ago, we only had 1 car come. 4 people came in, and it really wasn't that busy, so we actually got to watch the show.
I was a window washer for 4 years, and when I first started, I was only 12 and I was fairly short, so I had to carry around a wooden box to stand on so I could reach the windows.
The little guy that had to stand on the wooden box in order to reach the windshield, and I didn't know him at the time. Well, I knew who he was, but I never dreamed that would someday be my husband.
I Believe Old Yeller was our best movie. We were filled right up the first night. We couldn't believe that the cars couldn't all get in. And some of the people, I think John's parents, used to bring their car out in the afternoon and park it so they could get in at night to see the movie. There was so many cars lined up on the highway.
The first movie I can remember seeing was Mary Poppins, and we sang Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious for a month. I'm sure 2 of our parents crazy.
Now, while we're on the topic of fond memories, the troublemaker in me wants to hear about some not-so-fond drive-in memories.
A unique moment in my life of the drive-in, I suppose, was when the screen blew down in the 70s. We had a wooden frame structure before, and this one is all steel. And there won't be a wind that blows this one down, let me tell you.
It was the night they had a health show going around, and it was about venereal diseases, and it was very graphic. And there was some of the men, the women seemed to handle it all right, but the men were the ones that one got sick out here.
We closed up one night, and I went outside to check if all the cars had gone, and there was this one solitary car sitting at the back. So I went out there with a flashlight and realized that they were making out. They rolled down the window very quickly and then left very quickly.
Or some guy actually lost his car and came in. He was really upset for some reason. He was yelling at us, but he got re-announced and his wife came and he left. Thank God.
I burnt the popcorn and he got really mad at me.
You're all fired. Every one of you.
Because he gets mad when the popcorn gets burned. And the whole thing's done. You can't sell any more popcorn.
Drive-in owners know how to put on a show. It's not necessarily always on the screen. Take a look at these residents who greet audiences at the Cinema 6 just south of Regina. By the way, it's called Cinema 6 because it's on Highway 6 and not because they have 6 screens as we first thought. They actually have just 2 screens, which is just fine with them. The Boutins like to light up the sky with fireworks.
We'll do firework and folly nights once a year where we will shoot off a pile of fireworks, and when the show's all done, people can talk about it for, days afterward.
You don't get this kind of entertainment in indoor theater, at least not without burning the place to the ground.